Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm in Lightroom, but let's say I use a different photo editor, and I didn't have to start in Lightroom. You could use whatever photo editor to bring up your photo that you're going to work on, but this is the easiest for me. So let's see if we can get our sepia look cube file into Luminar and to ON1, two other full function photo editors. So in the case of Luminar, how you get to it is you have to do an export from Lightroom. And I've already set up the settings to have Luminar take it. So we'll just say export. And if y'all hadn't checked out the Luminar program, it's pretty interesting. I'm still working on it, trying to figure out all the ins and outs of it. Okay, so it brings up my photo, and you can see it has all of its own basic looks that you could add to it. But what we want to do is bring in our LUT, our cube file. So go over here to Filters and say Add Filters. Then go down to the Professional category, and you're going to see LUT Mapping. Click on that. And so it says choose a LUT. We're going to drop that down. And we can do one of three things. We can either load a LUT file, which is what we're going to do. We can go to the internet to download new LUT files. And then here are the files that Luminar has built in, the LUTs that they have already built in. So now notice one thing, it doesn't show you the look unless you click on it. That's one thing I do like about Lightroom and Photoshop is you go down your LUT browser, your profile browser, it actually changes the photo so you can kind of get a preview of what it's going to look like. So let's go up here to Load Custom LUT File. And opens up our File Explorer, and we can see that it has two LUTs named the same, the 3DL and the .cube file. It happens that Luminar can take either of those files, unlike Photoshop and Lightroom that can only take the cube files, or really Photoshop. Lightroom can only take the .xmp files. It has to be converted for it. So we're going to pick the cube file, and we're going to say open. And there you go. There's our look that we created in Photoshop, have used in Lightroom, and now it's in Luminar. If we undo this layer and then reinvoke our LUT, there it is, exactly the same as what we have created. Okay, so that's Luminar. Okay, let's say we used ON1 instead. ON1, you invoke it a little different from Lightroom. You right-click on the photo, and it's like you do Photoshop. You say Edit In, and you use ON1 Effects. Now, in the new ON1 coming in 2019, we're not going to see these modules separated. It's just going to be one on one. So right now, though, you would use the Effects module. So you click on that. You say Edit with the Lightroom adjustments. Now this has no Lightroom adjustments. It's just a pure raw file. Now what Lightroom does is it changes it to a PSD file to work on it. I mean, what ON1 does is change it to a PSD file to work on it. It asks me if I want it to be a smart object. I'm just going to use a normal photo for now. Okay, so there's our photo, raw photo. And if you look in the Filters tab on the left, it has, guess what, its own built-in LUTs. And again, you can go down these, but notice it isn't giving you a live preview. You could go here to make it so that you can see it a little better. So let's close that. Also, if you remember on my presentation, my PowerPoint presentation, I included a link to the ON1 site. It has a bunch of really nice LUTs and profiles that you can download not only into ON1 but into Photoshop. In fact, it's got a very nice free collection, so definitely check that out. So what we want to add our own look, our sepia look that we created. So we go over here. You can see things are similar. This is its layers panel. And so we're going to say add filter. And we can see it has LUTs. So let's check on LUTs. Okay. And it says, you know, where's your LUTs from? You can choose categories that it already has built in or that you may have previously downloaded. You can see that it showed me this one, ColourPop Blues, but we want to import our own. And there's really two ways to do it in On1. You can click the import here, which opens the extras manager, and you can get to that extras manager from over here also. Same thing. And then in the tabs, there's one called LUT, so we'll check that. And we haven't imported anything yet, so we're going to do an import. And we're going to go to where this was. It was here, I believe. Yeah. And notice again that it shows us the 3DL and the cube file because On1 can take both or either. So we're going to select our cube file and we're going to say open. And it says choose a category. Now I haven't created any categories, so let me create a category, which is the same thing as a group in Photoshop, and let's call it my looks. And we'll say okay. Now this is a little unintuitive. It creates it and it creates the category, but it doesn't import anything yet. It just sits there. You have to say okay again. So click on okay again. And it processed one item, and you can see there's our LUT. So if we close that, come back here to our category, you can see now there's my looks, and we only have one LUT in it. If I had more, you could see all of it. And guess what? There it is again. The exact same look that we had created in Photoshop and Lightroom. Now, it's not just On1 and Luminar. I know Capture One and a bunch of others, because LUTs are becoming a big deal. So all of your major photo editing programs will be able to accept LUTs no matter where they're created. And you can create LUTs in Luminar and On1. We're not going to do that here, but I just wanted to show you how these LUTs can become a universal preset. And again, with this LUT in here, I can add filters and layers and adjustments in whatever editor on top of my LUTs. I can add multiple LUTs to combine them if I want to create a mayhem of looks. And so I think you can start to see the power of color LUTs.